Welcome back to Whiskey Sports. I'm here with my guy Rhett. Another week down, another week closer for Tennessee.
Looks like we're matching a little bit this week.
Oh, we are.
I don't have Titans on, but we both have the same light blue on.
You got to, man. Two-tone blue, baby. Big win. Big
Chris's
win.
were pretty sick last week.
Who?
Titans.
Oh yeah.
Always love the light blue.
You can't go wrong with it. I
No,
thought they were gonna do the old Oilers. They were tweeting about it and doing like old Oilers.
I would love for them to come out in those. The last time we came out in them, though, we were in New England in the snow, and they beat us like 52 to nothing or 59 nothing or something. So
Yeah, they did a lot of just a lot of congratulating to the team and former teams. So they had everybody like at halftime. So like your 1990 to like 1996 Oilers team come out during halftime, and then they just did from 96 to 2000, and then 2000
gotcha.
they did every Titan basically.
Hey, as
It's pretty
long as the
cool.
goat was there, CJ2K, that's all that matters.
CJ was there, Eddie George was there, Delaney Walker's got retired as a Titan. Um,
I've never seen,
Fort
and yes,
Moon.
I will count Derrick Henry in this. I've never seen or watched a guy for the Titans that was as electric as CJ was. Chris Johnson, every
Lindell
time he
White.
stepped on the field, it was
Lindell.
absolutely unbelievable to watch. You weren't even a Titans fan then,
I
but
mean,
you
I
loved
watched
it.
him. I watched him.
Go watch some 2009 highlights, man. It's absolutely unbelievable what he was doing. It was like 2,800 all-purpose yards
Yeah.
between catching the football and obviously rushing. He was over
Yeah.
2,000.
I was watching
Good
Titans
times.
games back in the day. I just wasn't a fan of the NFL yet. Took me
Yeah,
a minute. Took me a minute.
this is kind of a hard year to be a fan of the NFL. It doesn't seem like a lot of scorings going on
Yeah, a lot of teams.
unless you're the Bills or the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, it's definitely changed over the years. A lot of passing only now.
Yeah, yeah. But getting to college, I know the first game, always the Big Ten noon kickoff. Basically, perfectly how we said it was going to go. Ohio State comes out and beats a terrible Iowa team,
Yes.
beats them down. I think I had said it's going to be somewhere within the 40 to 10 ish range, and you agreed. And they score. I mean, Ohio State scored two garbage time touchdowns, but mid fourth quarter it was 40 to 10. I mean,
Yeah.
exactly what we thought it was going to be, just an absolute beat down. In the first couple quarters, though, it was Iowa's playing okay, but they kept giving the ball to Ohio State like their
Well, the
own
problem
10
was
or their own 15. It
the
was
problem was
crazy.
Ohio State was making some mistakes. I think Iowa went up early, 7-0, because CJ Stroud fumbled the ball and they picked it up and ran
Yeah.
into the end zone.
Yeah, but Iowa turned the ball over four straight drives inside of their own 50,
Mm,
like on their own 30-yard line.
yeah.
And I think Ohio State kicked like three or four field goals out of that for some reason. But pretty simple game. We knew that was kind of going to happen there. Um, all right. Question bouncing off my question last week. I asked you if we thought Syracuse were frauds. They come in. They play a pretty sound game. One of their touchdowns was on a fluke fumble score where ukulele, fumbled at like the 4 yard line. But they were up 10 within like 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter against Clemson. I'm not asking you if Syracuse is frauds this time, or is Clemson a fraudulent football team, or is Syracuse just kind of good?
I think Clemson's just not good. Um, and I know you hate talking about this because you don't like to blame the refs, but there were some questionable calls in the Clemson's favor late in that game for Clemson to win the game. I just don't think Clemson's that good. They benched ukulele. They brought in the freshman. Now I'm saying the freshman's a lot better, and I think that's who should be their starting quarterback, but they're not going to, and probably until next year. I think the defense is legit, but their offense is not there.
Yeah.
Not with ukulele.
There was two things that happened in that game. One of them that changed the whole trajectory of the football game. It's Cole, not Kubelik, that's a SEC guy. What's his name? Cole,
I don't know the true freshman.
Clemson's backup, the true freshman that's really
Yeah,
good. Comes in and it's third and 13. They're still down 11 in the fourth. It's third and 13. Barely gets touched, and there's a 15-yard penalty. He incompletes the pass. They were going to punt it away back to Clemson, down 11 or 10 still. Gets that call. They go down there, they score and get it within three or four. Clemson gets the ball. Same thing happens. Probably a little more contact than what happened to the Cole kid. No call. They have to punt it away. So it was two pretty big calls. You never want to blame it. Clemson made their fair share of mistakes. But it's almost like the ACC needs a team to represent them
Correct. Yep.
because Syracuse would probably drop another game somewhere along the lines, maybe even in the ACC championship game or something if they were to win that,
Yeah.
end up beating Clemson.
Yep.
But they know they're only shot in hell of winning anything as if Clemson, escapes and makes it to the. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. Maybe that happened, maybe it doesn't. I'd say there's a 20% chance that actually the thought process there, but it makes sense if you were to think about it and if you were into
Correct.
conspiracy
A
theories.
biz it's a business decision.
Yes. Next game, I told you, man, West Virginia just sucks. Texas Tech comes out and absolutely blows the doors off of them boys. I said, both of these teams, you never know what you're going to get week to week. I told you, I thought Texas, since they were at home, Texas Tech's better version of them would come out, and West Virginia's worst version of themselves would come out, and it kind
That's
of did.
exactly what happened.
It was just
Texas Tech is not a bad football team.
they're
They're
not a bad football team,
they're
but
running
they're
like 97 plays a game. They're
yeah,
leading
no,
the
they're far from bad, but they've had some duds this year,
correct.
where they just have come out very, very flat. Um, your guy, Bo, comes out They punch UCLA in the mouth. Like we said, if that happens, we think it was going to be a beatdown. And then UCLA kind of hung in there, I guess, at the end. Their defense played a little better in the second half, but the game was never in question.
No,
Um, I don't really know what to make of Oregon. I don't know what to make of Pac-12. I think the system really does fit Bo Nix, and
no question.
it fits him perfectly. But I also think you still, even though they've improved week to week, you still have to look at that Georgia game and really you have to ask yourself, can they come to the top, the cream of the crop, the top 4 or 5 teams, and really pose a threat? Because 49-3 isn't like, oh, it was kind of a fluky 49-3. I mean, Georgia came out and absolutely dominated that football
The
game.
whole
Now,
game.
Oregon's looked awesome ever since, besides maybe the Stanford game. I think they struggled a little bit.
Yeah, they won by no, it's
It's
Washington
hard to
State.
make of. I don't know what to make of any of those Pac-12 teams. I really don't.
Yeah. And I'll tell you this, I knew going into the year that I was going to get shit talked because Bo Nix was going to go to Oregon and have a good year. I knew that going into it. And
I just
he's
think you're comparing
good.
apples to oranges, man.
He's just not, I mean, don't get me wrong. He's an athlete. He's been in the SEC and he's played against great defenses. And then when you go from that playing that for 4 years and then you go over to the Pac-12, I mean, he should be putting these numbers up. He's not going to be successful in the NFL. He's not good enough. Um, but I do think it was smart for him to boost his stats up, to make him
Best
look a
thing he's
little
ever
bit
done.
better. And I think it's a good system for him. He does well with the read option and and the spread. I don't want to say he's good because he's not when it comes down to do you have to rely on him? He's not good. Especially if I hope they make the playoff and they play Georgia again. Let's say Ohio State or Alabama.
I think they would
It's gonna
be
be the same thing again. It's gonna
pooping
be
themselves if they had to pay
yeah.
Georgia.
I'm telling you, he's just we knew going into this, like I said, we knew going into this he was going to be overhyped, which whatever, he's throwing up some good stats, but whatever. It's just 1 year. He ain't gonna make the NFL. It is what it is. Move on.
Yeah, I will like to toot my horn a little bit. I sprinkled, like I mentioned last time, I sprinkled OKSU money line, and it worked. The experience I think of Spencer really showed in that game. Quinn really struggled there in the fourth quarter when things got really close and tight.
Yeah.
He missed a lot of throws that he probably doesn't miss most times. But the thing is about Quinn, man, is that the only thing he's really doing this year is gaining experience, being in these big time environments, filling it out. You can't expect a freshman, unless it was like, Trevor Lawrence when he was a freshman, to just come out here and just dominate every single game in big time environments. Because Oklahoma State, it's not the loudest stadium in the country, but they were rocking. It was a good game.
Yeah.
And you could see the pressure got to him a little bit, but I'm excited to see Quinn, sophomore and junior year and see what
Uh,
he's got.
Halfway through the third, I was listening to it on the radio. If not, it maybe had been towards the end of the game. He had 15 overthrows at one point.
Yeah.
And he normally hits those. It's on the
Sure.
road, it's hostile environment.
Adrenaline was pumping.
He's going to
He's gonna
grow and
he's
get
gonna
better.
find a way to
Yeah.
be able to. I wouldn't say you like adrenaline in games like that, but you want to be able to contain the adrenaline. The best person in the whole country that does that is Bryce Young.
No question.
That dude is just demeanor is calm no matter the situation.
Yep.
Maybe Quinn can just reach out to Bryce and be like, "What do you do to literally always be?" And that's kind of like the Alabama quarterback way, you know. Jalen Hurts was like that when
Same
he
way.
played there
Yep.
before transferring to Oklahoma.
Yep.
Tua was kind of like that. But yeah, he'll learn. But it was a great football game, you know. Oklahoma State, you know, cashed like a plus 220 money line. I mean, it was a pretty good cash for anybody out there that actually took it. But a good football game overall. Texas, you know, they have 3 losses, but they're right there. I think
They are.
Sarkeesian's doing a good job. They just need to find a way to win those close games.
Yep.
And then LSU came out and absolutely dominated Ole Miss.
Hopefully nobody listened to me because
I
I
called
was
it. I said it was smelly. I said LSU is better than people think. Now, this is also a fact that I think Ole Miss is a little bit worse than people think,
yeah.
but LSU is better than people think, like I mentioned. But it was just smelly. I thought Ole Miss was the better football team coming in, and they went up 17-3 and then never sniffed the end zone like the whole rest of the game.
Hey,
LSU dominated from mid first quarter through the end of that football game, and it was not close.
yeah. I
So I
definitely
don't
heard
know if that's more of a
last
testament to
for sure.
LSU, and we get to see next week. You have the best back-to-back game we will have all year. It's going to be so fun next week. 3:30, Tennessee at Georgia, and then 7 o'clock, Alabama at LSU. I still think Alabama dominates, probably wins that football game by a couple scores. But in Baton Rouge at night, similar to Neyland at night, maybe even a little bit scarier, you know, of
Yep.
an environment. So that's going to be pretty crazy. Do you have any thoughts on that game? I don't know what to make of Ole Miss now.
The big question is, well, I don't want to say question. Let me see what you think. Would you question Lane on not being able to win the big game? Or is it more so this team is a little, I guess you could say overrated. I mean, you have a brand new quarterback, Jackson Dart, first year. Is it Lane coaching or is it more so the players aren't there yet?
Okay, I'm going to preface this by saying, yes, I think Lane's a really good coach, but I've always thought he was a little bit overrated.
Yeah.
Everywhere he's gone, they've never USC he was fired. Tennessee he only got 1 year, not counting that. You know, NFL he was terrible. Was pretty good at the mid major in at Florida International, Florida Atlantic. Um, you know, so he's been played and he was a successful offensive coordinator at Bama. He's been places, but he's never been an amazing head coach. And I think people love the flattery of his offense, but I also think that makes him a little overrated. But I also think it's just tough to win at Ole Miss.
I agree. I was about to say, I think it's just Ole Miss.
It's
If you
tough.
get
No
into a
one's ever been uberly successful there. You know, Lane Kiffin's
yeah,
kind of having like a Hugh Freeze career there. You know,
yeah,
your best is going to be 10-2. Your worst is still going to be an 8-4 ish, which is still good at Ole Miss. They've just never been a top tier program.
yeah, I agree with that. That's what I was asking. So that's the reason why I think that if Lane was smart and Auburn ends up firing Harsin, it's not going to be next week. I don't know when it's going to be. I thought it was a month ago. I think the best decision for Auburn to make that next step would be Lane Kiffin. He can
Yeah.
recruit. You give somebody that he's already complaining about Ole Miss and how the fans aren't there. Since 2012, I don't even want to say that stat because I don't know if that's right or not. Anyways, Auburn football, he has the support.
It's a better location. I mean, easily than Ole Miss. I mean,
So,
you
and
know that.
we're getting a brand new facility for the athletics. So it's everything's falling into place. We just got to have a home run hire, and I think Lane would be that for us.
Yeah. And just to clarify, my overrated does not mean I think he's a hell of a coach, but I also think some people think he's a godsend of a coach. And I
Yeah,
just think everything's point to him being a solid coach, just not an amazing coach. But
yeah,
he's still kind of young. He still has time to be an amazing coach. And I think he could do that at Auburn.
yeah, for
Um,
sure. But you got to give him a defensive coordinator, and we're known normally for having a great.
EJ Durkin last year, I mean, he wasn't working with a lot, but I think it really hurt them that he left because
That's
he's
what
a
he
good
said.
defensive coordinator.
That's what he said.
Um, and A&M just kind of snagged him up,
Yeah.
just
I
paid
got
him more. I
outbid.
mean, A&M has 40 times the money that Ole Miss would ever dream of having.
Did you see
Um,
Jimbo's buyout?
yeah, I mean, it only goes down like 9 million a year right now. It's what 95 ish,
$85
and it
million.
only goes down each year. It only goes down by a salary. Like next year,
Let's
it's
talk about
76
Jimbo for a
million.
second. How in the world are we having players smoke marijuana before a game in the locker room? How does
Yeah,
nobody
I
in the
mean,
world not know what's going on? You can smell it.
all right. Let me give you one thing here. It's one thing to smoke it after the game.
Okay. Do you
Okay,
think? Do you
whatever. But it's another thing to okay, it's one thing to smoke it at all. You should not be smoking weed in the locker room,
no,
regardless. But
no.
it's another thing to smoke it before the football game.
Where are the coaches at? Where's
What are
everybody at?
you doing?
There's got to be some type of an assistant or
And
a
I will come
equipment
in here and say
manager.
this right now. I was thinking about this earlier. No matter how bad Bryan Harsin's done here, Jimbo's the bigger failure
No question.
in the SEC with the amount of talent that dude is getting, and with the amount he's being paid. It's easier the bigger failure. I mean, they're terrible. They're absolutely terrible.
Brutal. We play them in a couple weeks, man. Now. I'm not saying we're going to win, but I think maybe closer than what people think. But
Yeah.
man, oh man, do you? I
Then
mean,
he comes out. He has the interview the other day, and he said, "I think it's more attractive to come to Texas A&M because we're not winning."
yeah, you get to
What?
come in and play.
It's no. That's not how this works. Sure, you can convince a couple of recruits to come to say, "Hey, you can start right away." Yeah, sure, you can do that, but Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State, they've all shown Clemson, they've all shown if you're winning, you attract the best recruits. It's just the way it is.
Yep. So I mean, so Texas A&M and Auburn are. I don't know if they're tied, but they're up there with the most transfers. Auburn has lost 10 of their 18 2021 class signees already. We've had five people leave in the past 24 hours, maybe 48. Five people. It's ridiculous.
It's pitiful.
Supposedly, Bryan Harsin's saying it's either burn a year, leave, burn a year or leave because he's not giving people red shirts.
Yeah.
I don't know about that. I don't know. I'm not in detail for that, but like, why not give the kid so he can have another year? Like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
I don't know.
And then the last thing, we don't need to talk about it a lot. You were on Mississippi State this weekend. I said Alabama would probably come out and beat the shit out of them. And Mississippi State got in their territory a few times, but it was basically 30-0. I think they scored with like a minute or two
It's
left.
36, I think.
I know at the end of the game, I think Mississippi State scored with like 2 minutes left in the game after the game was already over. Just an absolute beatdown from start
Yeah.
to finish. I mean, it wasn't really in question. Um, I don't know what to make of the damn Alabama. I'm just so weirded out by how Alabama, more so Mississippi State, just on the road they just throw duds up there and they don't score.
I
They
know.
literally suck on the road, and then at home they're good. They can
Mike
score with
Leach's
the best of them.
Mike Leach's thing was after the game interview was pretty funny. He
Yeah, he
said,
basically said his
"I don't.
players were scared.
They're scared of anything." That he goes, "If you want to scare my players, just wear an Alabama jersey."
Yeah, that's basically what he said.
Oh shit,
Um,
that's hilarious.
but I mean,
I'm glad he's in the
another
SEC.
testament to the damn Tennessee offense for putting 52 up on that defense. It really is.
Yep.
But
Next week is
um,
going to be the big.
still got to worry about this weekend.
Yep. All right. Are you ready for games?
Let's do it.
Big game right here. I don't know the line. I don't know why it's like this. TCU at West Virginia. West Virginia is plus 7.5. Over under is 69.
I think it's like that because West Virginia has shown over the years at West Virginia, it's a pretty tough place to play.
Yeah.
I think it'll, I don't know if the fans have already given up. They probably have, but I think it'll still be somewhat loud. But I like TCU to cover the touchdown in this game. I find TCU not on the same level as Tennessee, but I think they're very similar football teams in that they can score at will, and then they have a defense that gets stops the right time. Now, both defenses have a lot of holes, in the pass coverage. Tennessee's defense is very good at stopping the run and getting pressure, but they can't stop the pass. And I think TCU is a very similar team. They score at will, and their defense isn't very good, but they get stops when they really, really need it. You know,
I'm all right with you. I like TCU minus touchdown. It's just, I just, I think it's going to come down to defense. I think West Virginia has the worst defense in the country. I mean, it's disgusting to be honest with you. West Virginia's wide receivers are pretty good sometimes. Sometimes they're terrible. But I always like JT
the
Daniels.
whole West Virginia team is like
They
that.
really are, dude. You really don't ever know what game who. I mean, they come out and beat Baylor 2 weekends ago, and it's just
I
like
wouldn't be surprised if they came out and won the football game outright
that's what I'm saying.
this weekend. It wouldn't
Don't know.
surprise me based on
Correct.
this year on what they've
And
done.
JT can sling it, man. But
At
as
times, sometimes he comes out and he can't throw water in a
right now with all the
water on a boat.
momentum and the hype right now for TCU, they can't drop a game, and it's not
I
going to be
think
this.
they will drop a game. I just don't know when they will drop a game.
You say that it's going to be this weekend now, but yeah, I like TCU minus touchdown. Next game, I'm excited for. I don't know how excited, but Ohio State at Penn State. Penn State plus 15 and a half, over under 60 and a half. I'll let you go first.
I'm not excited for. I mean, I'm okay to watch it, but it's a noon game. I think Penn State's environment is going to be there. It always is there, but I think a whiteout at night is just, or even just at night in Penn State is 100 times harder than during the day at noon. It just is. Ohio State's got too much, man. I don't think anybody in the Big Ten but Michigan can pose a threat. I mean, Michigan just absolutely made Penn State look like they were a group of five team
They did.
in the trenches.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying Ohio State's as strong in the trenches as Michigan State. Or it's Michigan. That's Michigan's strength. But I like maybe in the first half it's close because Penn State comes out, they're high, adrenaline's rushing, the defense is playing a little bit better. But I like Ohio State in this game to cover.
Not so fast.
Don't do a Lee Corso, please. I don't like it.
Penn State plus 16. One reason why I say that, and I'm not saying Ohio State's good. I'm not going to bet it. I think it's too many points because I can see it go either way. Ohio State hadn't played nobody yet.
And I don't think Penn State's anybody. That's my point.
They're not, but still, Penn State's still the best team they've played. They're going to be played so far.
Yeah.
Um, I just Ohio State's gonna if Ohio State struggles like they kind of did when they because Ohio State starts slow. They start slow. They start slow. They start slow. And if Penn State can capitalize on their errors early and smack them in the mouth, I think it'd be good. I think it'd be a close game for the points. Could be they could win by that's why I like 16 plus 16. Now, obviously, if would I be surprised if Ohio State comes out and wins by 50? No. But like I said, they haven't been challenged yet. They haven't had a team that if they do get hit in the mouth, to continue hitting them. You know what I'm saying? So
Sure.
if they
I
get
just don't. I don't trust Clifford.
this is biggest game. This is his biggest game of his career.
I'm going 41-20.
41
Ohio State.
So 21.
Yeah, and
I
I
like
think it could. I think they could stretch it out. I just need to see something from the Ohio State defense because they haven't played an offense yet this year,
that's
so
what
I
I'm
have no
saying.
idea how good they are.
You give the rock to the five
Their
star
offense is going to score.
and
We
he
know
takes
that.
off. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting how it goes. Next game is Notre Dame at Syracuse. Syracuse is -2. Over under is 48. I honestly have no idea. I think I'm going to go Notre Dame in the points. May go up to +3. I think Syracuse gave Clemson all they had. And I still think Syracuse is a fraud. Notre Dame, they can't lose to a Syracuse, you wouldn't think, but I'm going to go Notre Dame +3 and the points.
I mean, Notre Dame's looked really bad this year, and Marshall, that loss keeps getting worse and worse. They keep losing to really bad teams.
Yeah.
The Carrier Dome's going to be rocking. This is such a weird game because Notre Dame stinks. I think Syracuse is slightly overrated, but give me Syracuse by a field goal in this game. I don't know if either. I mean, what's the over under in this game? I don't know if either offense
48.
will be able to score. What?
48.
Ooh, I like the under.
Yeah, because I mean, what Clemson was 20 or 47,
Yeah.
26, 21.
And
So
both, I mean, Notre Dame's offense is not Clemson's offense, that's for sure.
very true.
But their
So
defense is good.
under maybe the play then.
I like the under.
Next game is Oklahoma and Iowa State. Iowa State is plus 1.5 and over under is 55.5.
Is Dylan Gabriel playing? I would assume he is.
I'm assuming so because he only had a concussion.
Iowa State, I said last time, their defense is pretty good. They can't score the football. Give me Dylan Gabriel to be able to score enough to win this football game, no matter how bad Oklahoma is.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with you. I like Oklahoma as well. It's just Oklahoma. Iowa State hasn't looked impressive this year. I think Matt Campbell's gone after this year as well. I think his run at Iowa State's done. So give me Oklahoma big. Arkansas at Auburn. Auburn plus 3.5 over under 61.5. I'm gonna let you go first.
Um, I think the very key here is Auburn cannot stop the run, and that's all Arkansas can do. Um, so I believe Arkansas has their way on the ground, and I also believe Auburn can have their way on the ground. Um, but I believe in. I don't like KJ Jefferson this year. He hasn't been very good, but I believe that his legs, and then um, I don't know why I'm drawing a blank. Rocket Sanders' legs, as the one of the best running backs in the country, are going to do it this game. I wouldn't be surprised if Auburn covered and even won. I don't think Arkansas is very good, but I think Auburn's weakness is run defense. Honestly, their whole defense is their weakness, and I think Arkansas is going to be able to run the football on them and get the win.
Statistically speaking, over the past 20 years, Auburn has absolutely dominated Ole Miss, Arkansas, and Texas A&M.
Well, you just lost Ole Miss,
But
so
this is a different year, man. We have too much distraction, too many players leaving. It just doesn't look good. I don't know. I think Auburn's still going to come out and support. I still think they're going to be loud. But I think Bryan Harsin has officially lost the fan base, the team. I think this is, I don't want to say this is the last game. I think they're going to wait to the end of the year, but I think Auburn's done. I think Bryan Harsin's done. So, with so much off the field distraction, I like Arkansas to win. I hate it. It hurts me to say that because I don't think Arkansas is good at all, but we're very bad, very, very bad. One of
yeah.
the worst Auburn teams I've ever seen. So, unfortunately, Arkansas. So, next game is Oklahoma State and Kansas State. Kansas State is minus 1.5 at home. Over under is 56.
I would have to check. Adrian Martinez went out in that game last week against TCU. They had to play their backup literally from like the first drive on.
No
So
shit.
I would have to check on if he's playing or not because I think that's a big key. Um,
I agree.
and if he's playing, I actually like Kansas State in this game. Oklahoma State coming off a big win against Texas at home. Oklahoma State generally doesn't play too well on the road under Spencer Sanders at the helm of the quarterback. So, and Kansas State's a good football team. Don't get me wrong. So I like Kansas State in this game. There's a lot of close lines this week, huh?
They really are. I don't I don't see any information right now on Adrian Martinez, but damn it, I'm gonna have to ride with you, man. I like Kansas State at home as well. Um, if Adrian Martinez plays, I definitely like it even more.
I mean,
Uh,
they almost beat them with their back. They almost beat TCU with their backup last week.
I'm
I mean, they
saying
were up 28-10 at one point in that
this
game.
Kansas State team, man, they're pretty good this year.
Mhm.
Big win over Oklahoma, if you want to say big, but I mean, I still think that's a
Yeah.
big win for them.
As I said last week, I think the Big 12 is literally just going to keep beating each other
Yep.
until everybody has two losses or more. Except
Yeah.
maybe TCU. I haven't really looked at their remaining of the schedule. I still think they have Texas maybe left and a couple other teams though.
Um, Next game is Florida at Georgia. Oh, Florida and Georgia.
In Jacksonville.
In Jacksonville, not in Georgia. Um, Georgia's minus 22.5. Over under is 56.5. Um, I like Georgia, man. I think Georgia about 24 or more. I think Georgia's just the better team.
Right.
Um, I think LSU definitely it showed that when Florida played LSU. I think it showed that.
So I think Georgia is 4 touchdowns probably better than this team, maybe more. But it is a rivalry game. And last year, what people don't know is this game was 3-0 with 3 minutes left in the second quarter. And then there was 21 points scored in the last 3 minutes of that half to make it 21-3 right before half, or 24-0 right before half. I think Florida comes out, tries to be excited and keeps this game close in the first half, and then backdoor covers there at the end of the game and lose by 21. I'm going plus 23 Florida. Not because they're any good. Georgia's a much better football team, but almost kind of like your reasoning last week of picking Mississippi State to cover against Bama, I think maybe happens here
And
in
it's
this
hard.
football game.
Georgia, I mean, I don't want to say Georgia. I mean, Georgia's covered most of their games, but they didn't cover against Missouri.
Kent State, they struggled.
Correct.
They've had duds in the past, and this is a big rivalry game.
Yeah.
So they can come out here and win by a lot, but I like Florida in the points.
Yep. Next game is Michigan State at Michigan. So last year I went to the Ohio State Penn State game, and they were the night game, and Michigan State Michigan was the 12 o'clock game. So that's crazy. That's weird to me that they switched. I wonder if that's a thing. Maybe it is, and I didn't know it. But
Big
so
noon kickoff is the main slot, just like CBS at 3:30 is the main slot.
oh,
So they
okay,
wanted last year. Michigan State was the bigger game, so they
yeah,
got them at noon. This year,
that's
Ohio
weird.
State Penn
Okay,
State's the bigger game.
okay. Yeah, so they switched it. But anyways, Michigan is minus 23 at home, over under 55. Michigan minus 23, no question. I think they're 4 touchdowns better. Michigan State's not good at all. Mel Tucker is a disaster. Michigan just has a lot going on right now. I like Michigan.
Um, Similar line as to Georgia, Florida.
Yeah,
But I just Florida's like in comparison, I think Florida's offense is a little bit better than the Michigan State offense. I like Michigan in this game by a ton.
yeah, I do too.
Michigan State, Peyton Thorne is just they thought he was gonna have a good season this year, and it's just not working out. I like him by minus 23 for sure.
Yeah, too. Yeah, I think too. Michigan State beat them last year,
Yeah.
so they're coming out hot to this weekend. Next game is Ole Miss at Texas A&M. Texas A&M is plus 1.5. I like Ole Miss big. Over under is 54.5, but I like Ole Miss big. I think I like it as a bounce back. I think Texas A&M has too much off the field issues right now. A lot of question with Jimbo. He doesn't have the team right now. A lot of people are transferring. You got people smoking
Yeah.
weed before the games. I just don't think they're taking this year serious. I like Ole Miss to come in and smack them.
Yeah, I don't know about smack. I think one of the strengths for A&M is their run defense, and that's what Ole Miss does well. I can't. It's hard in this game because I don't think Ole Miss is great either. But you just can't pick A&M after everything that's happened. Give me Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss by 14.
And last but not least, Kentucky at Tennessee. Tennessee minus 12.5, over under 61. It's looking like, I think when it started, Tennessee was minus 11. It looks like it's gone up 1.5. So it looks like a lot of bets are going towards Tennessee. I'm going to surprise you by this. I like the under 61. I think Tennessee wins the game. I think Tennessee wins by 20 plus. But I don't see Kentucky doing that much. And I think Kentucky's gonna stop Tennessee to an extent. Because you have to have one bad week. I mean, you would think you have to have one, kind of slow week.
Take
Especially
that back.
with who?
Hard to slow down with our best receiver back.
Yeah, I didn't think about
And they've
Tillman
been keying
back.
Jalen all week. Hyatt, they're probably gonna be double teaming him and leaving somebody
And
on
then
the
you got
island.
Cedric Tillman. I know.
I'm
Hell,
not. I'm not veering you away from the under. I think it's.
I
It
still
could be a
like the
fun bet.
under. I think it'll be like a 38-10 type of game. But obviously, I like Tennessee minus. I'm going to see if I can get it down to 10. I don't know how I can do that. I probably have to buy the points, but I like the under in Tennessee minus
Yeah, the
10.
under will be big in the first. The first half's going to tell a lot about the under because
Yeah.
coming off a bye week, I think Kentucky actually has a pretty good game plan on defense. But I think by the mid second quarter, you'll see Tennessee just impose their will. Now, if Tennessee just comes out first drive, then you should probably be a little bit scared.
Yeah.
There's two things in this game that make me actually pretty confident in Tennessee covering the 12 and a half. One, it's always about our defense. One, it's the only good part of our defense is our run defense. Well, Kentucky, really the only thing they can do well is run. Two, the other good part of our defense is pressure on the quarterback. Well, Kentucky's offensive line is not good at pass protecting, and they've let Will Levis sit back there and get hit all year. So I like it close in the first half, but I like Tennessee like 41 to 23 ish type game.
So it's around 63,
Huh?
around 63.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting, man. I just don't know I just don't know how much Kentucky's going to be able to score. You're at Tennessee. It's a night game. You're bringing out the black uniforms. It's going to be rocking. I
Yeah,
just
it's gonna
don't.
be rocking. The
Will
black
Levis,
uniforms are pretty sick too. Look a
Will
little bit like
Levis
Oklahoma
is
State. That's
just.
okay.
I just feel like he doesn't show up in big games, man.
A player to watch in Kentucky though is Barry Brown, their freshman wide receiver. He's gonna have a good day. He's a really good football player.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting. We got a couple NFL games real quick. Packers Bills in Buffalo. Buffalo's minus 11 and a half, over under 47 and a half. I like Bills minus 11 and a half, if not more, if I could. Packers ain't it this year. Aaron Rodgers ain't got it. He ain't got no help.
Aaron
So,
Rodgers I think, it still has it. He just literally has Alan Lazard as his best
I
receiver.
said Packers ain't, they don't have it. I'm not saying Aaron Rodgers.
No,
No, Aaron
it's
Rodgers has.
just hard. I could I could see that. I could see AR coming out and not. I don't think they have a shot in hell of winning this football game, but coming out and just doing something spectacular, saying everybody's been hating on him, hating on him, hating on him, and he comes out and covers this football game and makes it close. Um, but they just don't have enough firepower and offense.
No.
I do think their secondary is pretty good and will try to limit Stephon Diggs and how much he can do. But the Bills' defense is too good to. I mean, you don't have anybody really that the Bills need to key in on except for the running back. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank here at the end, but I mean, it should be pretty cut and dry. Bills minus 11 and a half.
Next game is 49ers and Rams. Rams plus 1.5. With Christian McCaffrey just getting over to the 49ers, I just think him and Debo are going to be absolutely disgusting together. Rams are struggling still. I like 49ers.
Yeah, I think the 49ers defense got a little bit exposed last week, but who doesn't, I guess, against Kansas City. And then Kansas City just added Kadarius Toney, who
Yeah.
has a lot of talent. They just don't throw the football with the Giants. They either give it to Saquon or
For a
runs.
six round pick. That's it.
Yeah. So I like the 49ers in this too. They got too much on offense, and I think the defense shows up and plays a good game. They've been struggling a little bit this year. Stafford's been struggling a little bit without. I mean, you only have Cooper Kupp. That's really all you have to do. You stop Cooper Kupp, you stop the football team. You limit Cooper Kupp to less than 15 receptions, you probably win the football game.
Cam Akers isn't playing. He's trying to get traded.
That OBJ loss was bigger than people thought, and the Robert Woods loss was bigger than people thought.
Correct. I just wish, Robert, I just wish we could use our offense more for the Titans, man. Tannehill just has no time. We can't throw the ball deep.
Dennis Daly's the worst left tackle I've ever seen in my entire life.
Next game, Titans and Texans. We are minus 2.5. Texans are a little hot right now. Been playing kind of good football. I like the Texans plus 3.
I don't know who's going to play in this game. I don't know if it's Tannehill hasn't taken a snap all week in practice. Regardless, Tannehill or Malik, I like the running backs to have a good day, and I just think our defense is just playing too good football right now. Give me a low scoring again, 20 to 13, 14.
You got to score first on offense.
Game. I know. And they've been getting there. They just have to kick field goals. They haven't been scoring a lot in the red zone here lately, like they usually do.
I'm just going to go Texans plus 3. Just
Derrick Henry 100 plus, I think is a good bet.
Should be. Other